Okay.
Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastama Vidvishavahai. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. So far we have seen what the word darshanam means. With the Vyutpatti also we have seen Karana Vyutpatti, Kartru Vyutpatti, etc. Darshanam, Darshanani, Bhagavachanam. And one who propounds his view or opinion based on his own perception. It's called Darshanika. So Darshanani can be divided into two types. Nastika Darshanani, Astika Darshanani. With regard to Bharatiya Darshanani, only we are talking about, not the Western philosophy. Darshanam in English it is translated as philosophy, and we saw what philosophy the word means. Combination of Greek words meaning love of knowledge or love of wisdom. And among the Bharatiya Darshanani, two divisions are the Nastika, Astika. Nastika means those who accept Veda as the Pramanam. So what Pramanam, that also we discussed. There are Shat Pramanani. And the first five Pramanam, that's Pratyaksha, Anumana, Arthapati, Upamana, Anupalabdhi. These are Paurusheya Pramanani. The last one is Shabda Pramanam, Shruti Pramanam, it is Apaurusheya Pramanam. So based on this acceptance of Apaurusheya Pramanam, that is Shruti Pramanam, Veda only, Darshanas are divided into Nastika, Nastika. Among the Nastika, we saw that just names Charvaka. Charvaka is materialistic philosophy. Now most of the people are after that, materialistic people. So Charvaka, then Jaina, then Bauddha. Bauddha, there are four types we saw. Then coming to this Astika Darshanani, Nyaya Vaisheshika, Sankhya Yoga, Purvamimamsa, Uttaramimamsa. These are the Darshana. Then the first Darshana. For knowing the views, the views or the matam of the Darshanika, we should know what all the criteria based on that it is given. If you remember, we discussed in the beginning itself. Every Darshanika must talk about the six important things: Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat, then Bandha, Moksha, Sadhana. They have to explain the cause of this Jagat. They have to explain what is this Jagat, what is this creation, what is made of, and who am I, this part, what is my part in the Jagat. All these things, these Darshanas, the Darshanika, they have to give their views, perspectives. Now, this Astika Darshanani, as we know, they are based on the Veda. The Veda as a Pramanam. Therefore, all accept Veda as a Pramanam. But not all accept all the Pramanam, but they accept Veda as a Pramanam. Astika Darshana. So when we discuss the Darshanam, what are the things we will discuss? I tell you. First one is, who is a propounder of this Darshanam, number one. And what are the important topics it deals with? And what is the propounder and what is the basic text? That is the views or the perspective of the Darshanika presented in the form of a sutra or in the form of a text. So that is called literature. So first one is propounder, second one is literature, third one is this Padartha, topics, 16 topics, We saw in the case of Nyaya Darshana, the 16 topics. Not that every Darshana will have 60 topics. This Nyaya Darshana has got 60. One among them, or the primary among them, is Pramanam. That is why we discussed Pramanam little elaborately. What are the Pramanams? Each Darshanika accepts, each Darshanam accepts. Then after that, we will discuss that their theory of knowledge. Theory of knowledge means it is based on the acceptance of the Pramana. So this is how it is going to be discussed. All the Pramana more or less will be following the same pattern. Propounder, then what is the basic text or literature, and what are the Padartha, the topics, and what is the concept of Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat, as we told, Bandha, Mukti and Mukti Sadhanam. All these things will be discussed. Among the important is Pramana. So that is why Pramana we discuss. So this is a general topic with regard to all the Darshana. With regard to Nyaya Darshana, we have seen the propounder of Nyaya Darshana is Akshapada, otherwise called Gautama. So Gautama, you can know that his name is famous. Gautama. Akshapada is another name, but Gautama is the famous name. And yes, the basic text is Nyaya Sutra, for which commentary is there. Then commentary on that commentary, sub-commentary. So like that, many granthas are there. You can just know the name of those commentaries from the examination point of view, from this text, from this book, that you can know. Then 16 topics which we discussed, and in that, here only I think we stop. 16 topics when we say Pramanam, and Prameya also is there. Prameya means the object of knowledge. That also we have to discuss. Pramanam is one, and Prameya, what is the object of knowledge? So that also each Darshana has got Prameya Vishaya. Then, so here we stop. Where we stopped. So let me continue from here. The ultimate aim. Okay. The ultimate of a human being is to attain the state of Apavarga or Moksha. Because Bandha is a Karana. Therefore, Moksha, freedom is what every human being aspires. Therefore, the ultimate aim, the purpose or the goal is Moksha. Why? Because wherein there is total cessation of all suffering. So the Dukkham, which is given by the samsara, is completely the complete stoppage of that happens when there is freedom, moksha. And this is possible only when tattva jnana, or right knowledge about apavarga, right knowledge about moksha. This is an important thing. How moksha is gained. Moksha is, for moksha we should know, we should have the right knowledge. Right knowledge and other essentials is obtained. We will discuss more on this when in the context of Vedanta. The knowledge is important. Right knowledge. This again involves the famous 3 steps we saw, like in the Vedanta: Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Shravana is hearing. Since they accept Veda as a pramana, Shabda pramana, therefore the Vedas have to be taught by the teacher. It has to be heard by the Shishya. It is, as I told, it is not a book. We discussed about Veda also. It is not a book. It is a pramanam. Therefore, it has to be handled by a guru. And therefore, the Shishyas, the students, have to hear. Then they reflect on the teaching. There may be doubts with regard to the pramanam itself. There may be doubts. To accept Veda as a pramanam, how can I accept Veda as a pramanam? How is it possible that Bhagavan has given that prama as Veda to the rishis? And pramanam, that pramanam is not with me, it is outside. Some guru says, why should I accept? All these doubts may come. And what the pramanam convey, that is prameya, the knowledge, that also, with regard to that also, one may have doubt. So all these doubts and vagueness has to be cleared by repeated thinking, and students have the privilege to ask questions and clarify doubts. That is how, that's called Samvada. We discussed 4 types of discussions, 2 healthy discussions, 2 non-healthy, Vada, Samvada. When there is discussion between the Guru and Shishya, that is Samvada. The discussion is to arrive at the truth. So that is Mananam, then Nididhyasanam. Then Nididhyasana means having received the knowledge, then you have to make the knowledge available for you all the time. Because of your previous orientation, what happens? This knowledge may not be available with you all the time. You are, because of your previous the function, the way you are doing, the mind is naturally programmed to act in such a way, previous way. Now this knowledge has come. After this knowledge, you cannot be the same person. You have to apply this knowledge. Very alert. That is alert. One has to be alert. Whenever the notion comes, I am a limited person, I am a limited jiva, the Shastram says, Vedanta says you are not limited. You are Purnaha, you are complete. So therefore, you have to bring in that knowledge again and again to knock off the previous orientation. It is something like this. When in your house, suppose if you change your shelf from one place to another place. So far, the shelf has been in one place for the last 10-20 years. Now, one day you shifted the shelf to another corner. Now, next day when you want to take a book, where you will go? Naturally, you will go to the place where you have kept the shelf. And you will realize, oh, the shelf is not here. Yesterday only I have shifted to another place. For that only Nididhyasanam is required. You have to be alert. You yourself have shifted the shelf, but you yourself are going to the old place. And you go there and see that there is no shelf because you have moved it. This is called previous orientation. The previous orientation, the previous learning, that has to be unlearned. For that only Nididhyasanam, which is called meditation, that is involved. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, the various facets of logic, I think from here only we have to start. The various facets of logic and reasoning given in the long list of 16 padarthas like Samshaya, Drishtanta, Tarka, Nirnaya, and Vada are an aid in the process of knowing and understanding the truth correctly. So, Samshaya, doubt may be there. Therefore, you have to remove the doubt and make the person, the opponent or the student understand by quoting an example. And there will be a logic argument based on that. Then you come to a conclusion. Then the Vada, the opponent may argue. Wanting to know, they may argue. So, argument, debate, finally leading to the final conclusion. These are the means by which you arrive at the right knowledge. Right knowledge here about what? About the truth. About the truth. So this leads us to the theory of knowledge as propounded by Nyaya Darshanam. Then the Nyaya theory of knowledge. So here the author will discuss about the Pramanam. Since the reality of an object can be ascertained truly only by the adoption of suitable methods of knowledge, it is very necessary to have a correct understanding of the latter. So, what means of knowledge? We discussed very, very elaborately. What means of knowledge you apply, that plays an important role to know the truth of an object, to arrive at the reality of an object. You can ascertain the nature or the truth of an object only by appropriate means of knowledge. That is why Pramanam is very important. Every darshanam, if you see, they talk about this Pramanam. Without Pramanam, without means of knowledge, how can you arrive at the knowledge of the reality of the reality of this Jagat, reality of an object? The reality of an object means it could be anything. Reality, the truth of this Srishti, the truth of you. How can you arrive at? You have to adopt appropriate means of knowledge. The theory of knowledge, as propagated by the Nyaya Darshana, accepts 4 pramanas or distinct and separate sources of true knowledge. We say separate, distinct, we use the word anadigata, abhadita, arthavata, jnana janakam, pramanam. Important, and this is the only definition of pramanam. The same thing only the author puts in English, using English words. Distinct, separate sources of true knowledge. True knowledge means what? The knowledge what the pramanam conveys has to be true. Then only it is valid pramanam. So Nyaya Darshanam accepts four means of knowledge. What are they? Pratyaksha, direct perception, the knowledge what you gain by operating your indriyas. And that also we saw pratyaksha two types, indriya pratyaksha, sakshi pratyaksha. Sakshi means a witness, the witness of all experiences, all cognitions, your hunger, thirst, emotions, everything. That is sakshi pratyaksha. Even indriya pratyaksha also depend on sakshi pratyaksha. Without the witness, without you, how can your eyes perceive the form or the color? Not possible. So always the witness, you have to be there. You have to be there. Therefore, pratyaksha, direct perception, immediate perception. So once you operate the means of knowledge, you get the knowledge. You don't have to work on that. What you gain by operating the means of knowledge, it is direct knowledge. Pratyaksha. Aksha, pratyaksha, prati aksha. Aksha means eyes, but here pratyaksha means direct perception, direct seeing. That's why seeing we say. Seeing, believing, seeing, understanding. Then second one is Anumana. We operate the indriya, we take the input of the indriya and we work on that and arrive at the nature of a thing. That is called Anumana. In English, it is called inference. Then Upamana, comparison. The last one, of course, Shabda, that is verbal testimony, that every Astika Darshanam accept. Upamana and all we have seen with examples, and Shabda Pramanam. Here, Arthapati and what is the other Pramanam missing here? Arthapati and
Anupalabdhi.
Anupalabdhi. Yes, those two Pramanams, Nyaya Darshana, do not accept. Only four Pramanams they accept. All the six Pramanams are accepted by Uttara Mimamsa, otherwise called Vedanta Darshanam. Whereas Nyaya Darshanam accept only four. Therefore, the view depend only on the operation of this means of knowledge. Not on these other two. The other two are Anupalabdhi and Arthapati. They don't accept. It is proper to emphasize here that these four pramanas, when handled correctly, will produce prama. Prama means knowledge. Prama means jnanam, knowledge, or valid knowledge, not aprama, or non-valid knowledge, as in the case of smriti, samshaya, or brahma, or a few other already stated as a part of 16 padarthas or topic. So pramanam, when you operate, it should produce valid knowledge, right knowledge, not aprama. Then only it is a pramanam. If it produces aprama, non-valid knowledge, like in the case of smriti, smriti is memory. Samshaya, if a pramanam produces doubtful knowledge, then it is not a pramana, or it is brahma, or erroneous perception. Then that is not considered to be a proper pramana, valid means of knowledge. So therefore, when handled correctly, it must produce prama, not aprama. Aprama is nanch tat purusha samasa. Na prama, aprama, non-valid knowledge. When it is not knowledge is non-valid. What about the pramanam? Non-valid. So these are included in the 16 padarthas, a topic you can see there. Again, valid knowledge is that which corresponds to the true nature of its object. Knowledge of an object is as true as the nature of its object. Remember that. Knowledge, the rose is there. You see the rose, what do you knowledge? Flower knowledge. The knowledge of a flower is as true as a flower. The knowledge, valid knowledge is that which corresponds to the true nature of its object. If it is not, then it is a non-valid knowledge. Let us take these four pramanas one by one. Pratyaksha, direct perception. This will be easy because we have seen before, so it will be easy for you to understand. When a sense organ comes into contact with a sense object, for instance, the eye seeing a table, producing a true, clear, and unerring knowledge of that object, it can be called pratyaksha. So when your eyes see and you perceive the clear knowledge, true knowledge, then only it is called pratyaksha. If you have cataract, then you won't be able to perceive the object as it is. That's the problem. Then the eyes cannot be the means of knowledge for that person.
He has got problem with the eyes. Therefore, assuming that the means of knowledge are proper, there is no obstruction in that, then operation of that means of knowledge must produce valid knowledge. This precludes indefinite or hazy cognition producing a doubt, as in the case of seeing a distant object like a post and doubting whether it is a man or a post, or clearly pressing a snake in a piece of rope in insufficient light, which is actually an illusion. Both these, though indirectly perceived, are invalid. This is what we say, smriti, or it is samshaya. That is, you see a post, a lamp post, but the light is not sufficient. Therefore, you don't see that post as a post. But what is there is a post only. But you have a doubt whether it is a post or it is a man standing or it's a ghost, because the light is not sufficient. A post is there, so you are not able to see the post as a post very clearly. You though you, in your mind you say it is a post, but still you have doubt. Therefore, that knowledge is not valid knowledge. Similarly, there is a rope, but you mistake the rope as a snake. Why? Because there is no sufficient light, andakaraha, insufficient light, semi-darkness. Therefore, you mistake a rope for a snake, and you shout, you scream, you cry, and asking for help. Then finally, when they come, bring the torchlight and put the light, and when they put the light on the object, then they see it is nothing but a rope. Then you get the right knowledge. But before that, it is erroneous knowledge, wrong perception. With regard to the first example, that is samshaya knowledge. With regard to the second one, it is wrong knowledge, erroneous knowledge. So even though you see, but what about the knowledge? The knowledge is not valid. Even though you operate with your sense organs and perceive, but the knowledge is not valid, because there are certain factors, certain additional factors required in producing the knowledge. Not only indriyas are enough. The dark room, how can you perceive an object without the light? Eyes are there, but light has to be there. Eyes also can see only when light is there. There should be light outside, there should be light in the eyes. What I mean is that your eyes also should be functional, should be able to see. So then only right knowledge can happen. Understand? Clear?
Yes, Ji.
What is internally experienced by the mind, like joy or sorrow, can also be classified under pratyaksha. What do we call in Sanskritam?
Sakshi.
Sakshi pratyaksha. Very good. Sakshi pratyaksha. Joy, sorrow, hunger, thirst, everything. You are internally, that is, you are the witness, you experience it. It is not outside, it is inside. You have problem you have pain in your stomach, you have pain in some parts of the body. Who knows? How can I know? Or how others can know? Even doctors cannot see. You go to the problem, doctor cannot find what problem you have unless you open your mouth and tell. When you go to the doctor, what would doctor say? Yes, please tell me what's your problem. Now you are the doctor, you please find out yourself. How can he cannot penetrate into your body and see what the problem is. You have to tell the problem. Then doctor, based on his knowledge, he rules out. That is what we saw. He rules out Anupalabdhi. He rules out all the possible. He wants to confirm. He wants to confirm that the problem is this. Therefore, he rules out other possibilities. That is Anupalabdhi Pramanam he operates. Right? So, therefore, Indriya Pratyaksha, what is internally experienced by the mind, he says, in fact, it is by the witness, by you. Mind also an instrument you operate. You can say mind, nothing wrong. If you operate the sense organs, it is Indriya Pratyaksha. If you operate your mind, which is Antakaranam, it is Sakshi Pratyaksha. Then extrasensory perception and intuitive perception by highly spiritually evolved yogis is also included in Pratyaksha. It's called Yogaja or Yogi Pratyaksha. That only yogis can see. Their perception. There are people who can see the upcoming events. Extrasensory perception, they say, intuitive perception. So they get that knowledge. That is also Pratyaksha. For them it is Pratyaksha. not for us. They can foresee events. That is Yogi Pratyaksha. So Yogi Pratyaksha. Then Anumana, inference. Anumana literally means a cognition, that is the knowledge. Mana, I told you, remember, ma, to know, to measure, to know. That is a ma. From that only pramanam.
Miyate.
Yeah, miyate iti, exactly. Prama, knowledge. Which follows anu, some other knowledge. After, knowledge after, that is called anumana. The stock example given to illustrate this is to draw the inference that there is fire on the yonder hill, that is on the mountain. The same example, stock. This is a famous example, stock example. Stock example means don't think it is something stocked in the shelf. Stock example means what is told in the sampradaya. That's called stock example. They use the same set of examples because examples are error free. The examples are error free, and by telling the examples, you can the same way as the ancestors, as the teachers before have talked about, we can also follow the same footsteps so that the shishyas, the students, can be made understood. That is why we use the stock example. We can use a modern example also. I gave some modern examples also. So stock examples are generally error free. Modern examples, when we give, there may be some mistakes possible. So therefore, that we be careful. We are a bit careful when we give examples. Now the mountain is on the fire is on the mountain is on fire. Okay, that there is to draw the inference that there is fire on the yonder hill. How? By seeing the smoke coming out of it. Even though the fire itself is directly not seen. If you see the fire directly, it is pratyaksha, but you don't see the fire. You see only the hetu. Hetu is the smoke from which you arrive at the sadhya, that is the fire. How? By vyapti, etc. we have seen. The syllogism of Anumana runs like this. Syllogism means that the mechanism. There is fire on that yonder hill because it is emitting smoke. It has been seen elsewhere that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Where? In the kitchen, in the pakashala, also in the yagashala. In the yagashala, you see smoke because there is fire. You go to the temple, or you in your house itself, they will do sometimes Ganapati Homa, etc. Smoke will be there, lot of smoke will be there, and that's why they keep the door open. Why smoke is there? Because fire is there. Without fire, there cannot be smoke. If without fire, smoke must be there, then smoke must be there all the time. Smoke must be there in your house, but it is not, or anywhere else. Smoke must be there, just simply like that. No, there is cause. Fire is there, therefore smoke is. The Nyaya text use some technical terms while giving this syllogism. Fire whose presence has to be proved is called sadhya. Very good. He himself has given the technical terms. So what we used before, you can understand from this sadhya. That has to be proved is called sadhya. The hill, which is a subject matter under consideration in the course of inferential reasoning, is called paksha. We are talking, what is the subject discussion? The hill. Therefore, that is called a paksha. Sadhya is the fire. Hetu is the smoke or linga. You can call linga or smoke. Smoke, which is the mark or sign that indicates the presence of fire, is called linga. Linga means indicator. Or we can use a technical word hetu. Or we can say sadhana. The most important factor in such anumana or inferential knowledge is that there must be a relation of invariable concomitance, invariable co-presence, called vyapti, the technical language of Nyaya, between the linga and sadhya. What is the linga? What is the linga? Smoke. What is the sadhya? Fire. Between there is connection between the smoke and the fire. Where? You have seen in the kitchen. You have seen that in the yagashala. That is a drishtanta. That is your anubhava, your experience. Based on that, you arrive at the vyapti. Yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra
Agnihi.
agnihi. That is called vyapti. Understand?
Astu.
So therefore, okay, the meeting will end in 10 minutes. I will send you the link again if it ends. The knowledge gained from Anumana may be further strengthened by applying Anvaya and Vyatireka. Please note this technical terms. Anvaya Vyatireka. Yatra yatra Dumaha Tatra Tatra Vannihi. That is Anvaya. Yatra yatra Vannihi Tatra Tatra
Tatatra Dumaha.
will not be there. Modern days you can see. Anyway, okay, that is not the right one. I'll give you another example. Anvaya Vyatireka. Anvaya Vyatireka is agreement in presence and Vyatireka is agreement in absence. He himself gives an illustration. We'll see if that is not understandable, then I will give other examples. Anvaya Vyatireka important. These two, that is co-presence and co-absence. See, I tell you what is co-presence and co-absence. When the hetu is there, the sadhya must be there. That is co-presence. When the hetu is not there, sadhya will be there? No. Right?
No.
The example I myself will give. Where smoke is, there must be?
Fire.
That is co-presence.
That is
Invariable co-presence. Anvaya. Where there is no smoke, there is no fire. We can take,
fire.
don't take the modern example, gas. As given, we will go by the stock example. Where there is no smoke, there is no fire. Because in those days, gas and all not there. Only they use wood only. Wood is the main fuel for them. So we go by the stock example, old example only. Now, don't take the modern example. Modern days, you can produce fire just like that. You don't need anything. Right? So, where there is no smoke, there is no fire. That is called invariable co-absence. Agreement in absence. In English, it is called agreement in presence, agreement in absence. Otherwise, you can call invariable co-presence, invariable co-absence. In Sanskrit, it is called Anvaya and Vyatireka. Understand?
Yes, ji.
Okay. Now, another example. Pot is a gata, pot. Pot is made of?
Clay.
So, wherever pot is there, clay must be there or not? I'm talking about the pot clay only, the clay only, clay pot only. I'm not talking about the plastic pot, silver pot, ever silver, not, you're not talking about that. Wherever pot is, there must be clay or not?
There must be a clay.
That is called Anvaya. That is called
Okay.
Anvaya. Right? If clay is not there, pot will be there?
No, Ji.
No,
No.
ji.
That is co-absence. Understand?
Okay.
So these two, the positive and negative ways of stating the same truth. That is what it is. It is Anvaya Vyatireka is for presenting the same truth only, or respectively illustrated by three sentences. Sorry, three sentences, not three. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is no fire, there is no smoke. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Anvaya or Vyatireka?
Anvaya.
Where there is no fire, there is no smoke. What is this?
That is Vidhireka.
Vyatireka. That's all. Understood. So,
Yes.
these two, does it give different conclusions? Same conclusions only, right? We arrive at the same truth. Okay. While analyzing the subject of Anumana, the writers on Nyaya have given several varieties of the same, such as Swartha and Parartha, or Purvavata and Sheshavata, and so on. However, these subtle distinctions do not serve any practical purpose in life, though they may be resorted to in philosophical disputation. So we don't have to worry. Only in philosophical arguments, all these things they talk about Swartha, Parartha, etc. Then comes the next one, Upamana, comparison. Upamana has been defined as a process of naming objects through a given description. So through a known object, we try to understand the unknown thing. That is called Upamana. Example, a man who doesn't know what a Gavaya. This was Gavayaha, wild cow. Gavayaha is a wild cow. I have not seen. So now you have seen. How are you going to explain to me that that is a wild cow? It may be told by a forester that it is an animal very similar to the domestic cow. So you have to give the example of domestic cow. It looks like a cow. It has got 4 legs. It has got a tail. It has got a body like that of a cow. It also like that of a cow. Then I can come to a conclusion, or it's something, it is resembles cow. right? So through a known cow, I know. Therefore, you give the description of cow by which I understand the unknown Gavayava. Gavaya, not Gavayava, Gavaya. If subsequently he happens to see such animal in a forest and immediately recognize it as a Gavaya, his knowledge will be due to Upamana. Some schools of philosophy do not accept Upamana as an independent source of knowledge, whereas others consider it as a form of Anumana itself. That's okay. Nyaya accept. Some they don't accept Upamana as an independent Pramanam, whereas some they put it under the category Anumana itself. Then comes the Shabda Pramanam, verbal testimony. It is defined as the assertion of a trustworthy person and is recognized as the last of the Pramanas. It is defined as the assertion that is given by the Rishis. Who can be more trustworthy than the Rishis? Shabda can be considered Drishtartha or Adrishtartha. So, Shabda may deal with Drishta Artha, may deal with objects which are available for your perception or something which is not available for your perception. Like Drishtartha, I'll tell you one. This is also not the stock example. This is the example given by generally in our class and particularly by Swamiji, Puja Swamiji, he gives the example. There is a place called Valley of Flower in Himalayas. Have you seen that? Valley of Flowers.
Yes, Ji.
Have you seen? Have you
But
gone?
not in person.
Suppose you don't know, okay, you have not seen. Then I describe there's a place called Valley of Flowers. So beautiful and it's full of flowers, flowers of varieties of colors. So now when I describe that scene, the scenery, that the valley, the particular place, you may have formed some idea about it. It doesn't stop with that. You can go and verify for yourself. Drishtartha. So that what I say is available for your verification. You personally can go and verify what I told is correct or not. Right? Now, that is Drishtartha. Adrishtartha. I talk about Svargaloka. Svargaloka, you have all the pleasures. You have your indriyas will never get tired. I can keep on enjoying all the pleasures, whatever pleasures you have life. The whole pothis will be there. Okay. You can have varieties of saris, all ornaments. What is that? The whole GRT will be there. You understand what GRT, right?
Yes, they.
Okay, just an example. The Swargaloka is now. When you say you understand, okay, Swargaloka is a place of pleasure where everything is there. There is no dearth of things, and you will never feel hungry. And another important thing is you never grow old. Your skin will never get wrinkles. Your face without the fair and lovely, your face shines, right? Without fair and lovely, you always shine. This is the description of Swargaloka. Now, with this, you form an idea, but can you verify it?
No,
To
Ji.
verify that, what you have to do?
We can just imagine. That's all.
To verify it, you have to give up this janma. You have to give up this body, right? So therefore, the words can give you knowledge with regard to things which are available for your immediate verification, right? Shambhitan. Or those which are not available for your verification, immediate verification. But Shabda can do. Shabdas can provide either direct knowledge. Direct knowledge is not either direct knowledge after verification becomes direct. Till then it is indirect knowledge only. And there are some knowledge which always remain indirect, like Sarga. That cannot give you, in spite of, I mean, that is, that's having heard, it doesn't produce. The indirect, it continues to be indirect knowledge only. Nitya, it is Nitya Paroksha. Always Paroksham only. Whereas Valley of Flowers is Paroksha when you hear the descriptions from me, but it becomes immediate knowledge direct knowledge when you go and verify for yourself. But Swarga will continue to be Nitya Paroksha. Always it is Adrishta. Okay, the meeting will end. It ends. Will continue.
See, one thing I myself feel good about it's all these things I heard from Pujya Swamiji as a student. Now, when I teach without any preparation, and I have taught to my students, online class students. But when I teach you, I myself see what Pujya Swamiji taught me. I'm able to recall because listen to so many hours, thousands of hours of his lecture talks. This has got knowledge has got deep into. So I'm able to talk. It comes to my mind. So what pramanam? It's very important topic. It's a very basic thing and very important. Understanding of that is very important. Understanding Shastram, Shabdam as a pramanam is a very big thing. Shabda, that involves Shraddha. Anyway, Shraddha Mayoyam Purushaha. That we say. Guru Shastra Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Okay, Guru Shastra Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. So, see, with regard to the knowledge what your sense organs provide, you don't need to have Shraddha. There is no Shraddha. It is, you need to have Shraddha. No, it is, you see it and get knowledge. But what about the Veda, which is outside? Why I'm saying is, the Indriya sense organs are available with you. You are the operator. Therefore, you don't need to have Shraddha. It is there. You are the operator. You operate and you get the knowledge. But when it comes to Shastra, the Shabda Pramana, it is operated by somebody outside of you. Because the Pramanam is outside of you. The words are outside of you. Therefore, teacher has to operate. The Sampradaya has to tell you how to operate it. The teacher is the one who knows the nuances of operating the Shastra Pramanam and gives the Jnana. Therefore, you need to have Shraddha. That is why we say, Acharyavan Purushaha Veda. The one who has got teacher, he will know. He only can know. And what a person is, Shraddha Mayoyam Purushaha. And what is Shraddha? Guru Shastra Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. That is what in this days now would say, have faith in the Guru, have faith in the Guru. It means faith not just in the Guru means whatever the Guru says, whatever the Guru, the way he begins, not that you just believe him. That is not what we say. That is how people understand it is wrong. Have faith in the Guru means have faith in the words of the Guru, because the words of the Guru is not different from the words of the Shastram, provided the Guru has studied under a Guru in a traditional way. Then only you have to accept the person as a Guru also. If anybody suddenly pops up from somewhere and proclaims himself as a Guru, that person doesn't deserve to be called a Guru. And if you follow him, then you will fall into a ditch. That's a problem. That is why Sampradaya is important. To be a Guru, the person must have been a Shishya before to his Guru. And that Guru must have been a Shishya to his Guru. And that person must have been a Guru, Shishya to his Guru. So it goes on and on like that. And finally, it ends with Dakshinamurti. That is called Sampradaya. That is why we say Sampradaya with Asampradaya with Mutkavat Upekshiniyaha. Shankaracharya says, those who do not come under the Sampradaya and they teach, you have to reject, like how you reject the words of a fool. Similarly, you have to reject. That is why it is very important. Okay. Now, we'll continue. Where is Shambhaviji? Joining.
Yes, Ji, she's joining.
Okay, let us continue. This is important. I thought we'll share with you. Then the latter means the adrishta, includes supersensible realities. Supersensible. What is supersensible? That is, it means which is not available for your immediate perception to your indriyas, sense organs. That's what is supersensible. Like these scriptural statements about God, soul, and immortality. We can include Swarga, Naraka, other lokas. That also all supersensible only. Hence, the Shruti or the Vedas are considered as Shabda in the highest sense. Supersensible. Not only God. God is not really, in fact, supersensible. I mean, according to Vedanta, he is now here everywhere. So we can say Swarga, Naraka, other Loka, Papa, Punya. These are supersensible. You have to correct this Vakya. Okay. Since Shabda or verbal testimony is revealed through sentences, sentences means Vakya. What Vakya? The Vakyas of the Veda. Vedas have got Vakya. Vakya is nothing but Shabda Rashi. Therefore, Shabda Pramanam. Veda is called Shabda Pramanam. The logical structure of a sentence is one of the topics discussed at length in the Nyaya philosophy. When you utter a Vakya, the sentence has got many things, many factors are there. When you say a sentence, it is not just simply said. It must have some meaning. It must have grammatically, it must be correct, valid, and it must convey some meaning, right? So, and the law structure is there. So that is discussed elaborately in Nyaya philosophy. It's giving some certain things. We can see that the construction of an intelligible sentence must conform to the 4 conditions. So when you utter a Vakya, the Vakya has to be intelligent, then it must conform to 4 conditions. What is that? Akanksha. Akanksha means expectancy. So you must have certain thing to communicate, and the listener also. Then only the listener also will try to, because you are talking about a particular topic. You have decided to talk about a particular topic. Therefore there is some expectancy on the part of the listener also. Akanksha is there, and Akanksha on your part also is there. You want to communicate certain thing. That is called Akanksha. Then Yogyata. Yogyata is absence of contradictions. It must have Yogyata. Then Sannidhi. There should be Sannidhi is Parasannikasha Sannidhi Visa Samhita, proximity between the words, and Tatparya, the intended meaning. Now, we have come to this class. What is the class? Shat Darshanani. That is the expectancy. In this Shat Darshanani, if we talk about English or history or geography, that is not right. That is not Akanksha. It's clear. So therefore, that is Akanksha. Then Yogyata. A sentence must have Yogyata. It means a sentence, it is like yesterday, I will go to Uti. Yesterday, I will go to Uti. Sentence is grammatically wrong, right? It's present. It is grammatically wrong. And also, I will modify the sentence. Yesterday, an elephant, this also gave by Puji. And yesterday, elephant entered the right ear and went through the left ear. The sentence has got Yogyata. How can an elephant enter into the ear? Even if it is a toy elephant, it cannot enter. Doesn't have any Yogyata. Therefore, this must not be there. So it must be absence of contradictions, whether grammatically or meaning-wise also. Then Sannidhi means proximity. The words are to follow one another. Suppose if I say, I, then after 5 minutes I say, then after 5 minutes, teach, after 5 minutes Sanskritam. What long time a gap is there. There is no proximity between the words. Then meanwhile you can go and have your dinner and come. That is not proper. That Vakya is not a proper. That is what proximity is important. Close. That is, the word must be, I will teach Sanskritam. That is understandable. Between 2 words, a long pause. Avasana is too much. Right? Therefore, that's Sannidhi. That is called proximity. And Tatparya is what you intend to convey. That must be very clearly conveyed. Clear. These 4 must be there in a Vakya. Why this is discussed is Veda Vakya are discussed with this, because Veda is a Vakya. So the sentence has to be intelligible. So they must confirm this conditions. Therefore, they analyze the Vakyas of the Veda. Analyze and then they conclude what the Veda want to convey, what the Vakyam of the Veda wants to convey. They arrive at the Tatparya. They do all these analysis, they arrive at the meaning of the Vakya of the Veda. This is what in the tradition all the great people have done, and they have presented their views, perspectives. Then the Nyaya theory about the physical world. The Nyaya Darshana, which perhaps followed the Vaisheshika Darshana in the chronological order, has adopted the theory of creation in toto. What is in toto? Completely. So, Nyaya Darshana, which perhaps followed Vaisheshika, therefore the Nyaya Darshana, it has adopted the concept of the Srishti, concept of Srishti of Vaisheshika Darshana. So there is no big distinction between the two Darshana with regard to the theory of creation, Srishti. So Nyaya Darshana is adopted in toto from the Vaisheshika Darshana, in toto from the latter. Okay. The physical world is a product of 4 paramanus. Parama anu. Anu means atom. Parama anu means atoms. According to Nyaya is the world is made of 4 paramanus, atoms of Prithvi, earth, apaha, Prithvi is earth, apaha, water, tejas, fire, and vayu, air. So the world, this Jagat, the Srishti is made of these 4 things. According to Nyaya, okay. Prithvi, what is missing here? Panchabhuta, we say, what is one bhuta missing here?
Yeah, Akashaha.
Akasha, not there. For them, Akasha is not. The physical substance Akasha, that is either, and the non-physical entities of Kala and Desha Kala are also involved in the process of creation. We are involved in the process of creation. But for them, the world is a product of only these 4. Akasha is there, but not as the one of the Paramanu for them. So they are also involved. Akasha, Desha, Kala, they are also involved in the process of creation. This is a concept of theory of creation. Okay. It is Ishvara or God who creates this world out of this material and non-material substances in accordance with the totality on the adrishtas or the karmas of the individual souls. So Ishvara, because this is okay, now it is Ishvara when we say. Ishvara when we say, do they believe in Bhagavan? Do they believe in God? This Nyaya Darshana? Yes. They believe in God. So, Nyaya Darshana, Astika Darshana, what did I say Astika means? They believe Veda as the Pramanam.
Prominent.
Right? Veda as a Pramanam. They accept Veda as a Pramanam. Though they accept Veda as a Pramanam, they do not believe in God. I said, remember? Very
Yes, Ji.
clearly talked about.
Ji.
So don't take the English word atheist, theist. Astika means translated as atheist, but we don't use that. That idea. Astika means believers of acceptors of Veda. Even though they acceptors of Veda, they need not believe in God. There are the people who accept Veda and they don't believe in God also. That also is there. But here, the Nyaya Darshana, they believe in God or not?
Yes,
They
Ji,
believe
They
in.
believe. So, therefore, they are Astika in both terms. One is they accept Veda as a Pramana, and second thing is they believe in God. They believe in Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara, right? It is
Yes.
Ishvara or God. The God created this. We are discussing their perspective, their view. Okay. What is their view only we are discussing. We are not getting and analyzing how it is and not. That is out of scope. So for them, God is there who created this Jagat. Okay, Bhagavan, see, the God is there. And how we will create the world? We must have material for creation, right? A pot is there, clay is there. The clay has to be there for the pot maker to make the pot. Pot maker is there. Without clay, how can he make the pot? Pot is like a Jagat, like the world. And pot maker is the Lord. So without clay, how the pot, the Jagat will come? Therefore, you need material, right? Every product has got 2 things. Remember, one is a maker, other one is a material. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Every product must have 2 causes. Please listen very carefully. Every product, every karya must have 2 causes. One is the maker, the one who produces. Second one is the material, with what he produces. The one who produces is called Nimitta Karanam, and that by which he produces is called Upadana Karanam. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Yes, Ji.
Nimitta Karanam is a maker, and material is Upadana Karanam. Now, here who is the Nimitta Karanam?
God.
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 Use the word Ishvara. Now, what is the
Ishvara.
material? What is the Upadana Karanam?
Is a material.
The
Material.
materials.
What are the materials? What we talked about? The Paramanus, etc. Those things are there. Those are the material, right?
Yes, Ji.
Yes.
Panchabhuta.
Material. They created Jagat. Now, in the Jagat, Jivas are there. How Jivas are created? Every Jiva has got their karma pala is there. Depending on their papa and punya, that is called adrishta. So, depending on their papa punya, that is called adrishta. Karma of the individual souls, Jivas are created. The Jagat is created made of the material, and Jivas are created based on their adrishta. Adrishta means that which is not available for your perception. That is adrishta means not seen. That what is not seen? Papa punya. You cannot see papa punya of a person. Can you see? You cannot see. Papa and punya are all there, like in your account, like you have money in your bank account. Similarly, this papa punya are all there in your account. Papa is that what you add to your account. Sorry, both gets added to your account, and papa is both are added to your account. One is credit, other one is debit. Papam means that it will be if you do a lot of punyam, then it will be added. If you do papam, that punyam will get slowly reduced. Or the papam you have to experience and exhaust. That's called karma. So every jiva has got karma. The karma palam has to be exhausted, and to exhaust the karma palam, a suitable atmosphere, a world has to be created that God creates with the material. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
According to Nyaya. Now, Ishvara or God. Then Nyaya system accepts Ishvara or God as the ultimate cause of Srishti. Okay. And Sthiti and Pralaya. Is he creator? Is he Sthiti Karta? Is he Samhara, Laya Karta? So, Srishti Karta, Sthiti Karta, Laya Karta of this Jagat. The world means Jagat. World means don't think it is only made of the 7 continents, not the whole Jagat, the cosmos, the universe. However, he doesn't create the world out of nothing or out of himself, but out of the eternal atoms, space, time, ether, minds, and souls. This is important. So he doesn't create a world out of himself, out of nothing or out of himself. There are things, material available outside Bhagavan, outside Ishvara. We use the word Ishvara, not Bhagavan. What are those material? Atoms are there, Paramanu, space, Desha, Kala. Space is Desha, time, Kala. Akasha is there. Mind also, according to them, is a material, and souls, that beings, Jivas are there. Beings are there. Jiva means not only Manushya, any Jiva. And amoeba also is a Jiva only. So, they create, then it means 2 things are there. Ishvara is there, and the material out of which he creates, that also is there. Hence, creation simply involves ordering of the eternal substance which are coexistent with God to form into a moral world shaped according to the karmas of the individual souls. Important line, please underline this. So, creation means what? Ordering of this. You make this eternal substance, arrange in a way that produces this Jagat, and you create a world in which the Jivas, they take birth and exhaust that. For what purpose? To exhaust their karma pala. So, who is that doing all these things? Ishvara does that. So, Ishvara and the materials, they coexist. Both are parallelly existing. Therefore, it is Dvaita or Advaita. It is Dvaita Darshana or Advaita Darshana.
Advaita Darshana.
Not Advaita. Advaita means non-dual. Here, 2 things exist parallelly. One is Ishvara, other one is the substance, or technically you can say Nimitta Karanam is there, that is creator, and then Upadanam Karanam is there, the material. Both are simultaneously existing. Like the pot maker and the clay. To make the pot, to create this Jagat pot. Therefore, it is Dvaita Darshan. Dvaita means duality. Non-duality means no 2, only no 2. That's what non-duality. Not even 1, no 2. Okay, that is Advaita Darshanam, Vedanta Darshanam. Not only, we'll see that later. Okay, Vedanta, the word's a big word.
Now, so therefore you can understand this is Dvaita Darshanam. The various physical objects serve as a means to the moral and spiritual end of their lives. The objects which are there, they serve as a sadhanam for gaining both the dharma, moral is dharma, and moksha, ends of their lives. So dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Then God is the first efficient cause, nimitta karanam, not its material cause. Please note, material cause, that is upadana karanam, exists apart from the Lord, Ishvara. Therefore, only I said it is Dvaitam. After creation, what does he do? He maintains that. He maintains the order. He again is a moral governor, karma paladata. Whatever the karma the jiva does to them, the karma pala he gives. That's why he called moral governor, karma paladata of the world, giving awards. Giving award means punyam. Punyam to the meritorious and punishing the wicked. Giving papam or punishing the wicked. We don't use the word wicked at all. It means not non-meritorious. It is who destroys the world after the cycle is over and as per the moral exigencies. So when the cycle is over, it destroys the world. It destroys the world. This he does by letting loose the forces of destruction. So you make the forces of destruction work, then he destroys the world. He is omniscient in the sense that he possesses right knowledge of all things and events. Bhagavan, Ishvara is called omniscient, all knowledge. Why? Because he has got knowledge of everything, all the objects, upadana karanam. That's why he is able to put them in an order and create the Jagat. So that's why he's called omniscient. And he is endowed with eternal consciousness as an inseparable attribute. Eternal consciousness. Consciousness means Chaitanya. So consciousness is not his essence, as in Advaita Vedanta. Important. In Advaita Vedanta, that is what I studied, and that is what we teach in curriculum also. Consciousness is not its essence. Consciousness is an attribute. It is something, you have many attributes. Similarly, consciousness also is an attribute of Ishvara. It is not its essence. It means consciousness, the Chaitanyam is not its Svarupa. See, all these things have to be discussed very elaborately to make you understand, but because of time constraint, not possible. I'm trying to say very briefly and trying to make you understand. See, consciousness means Chaitanya. Remember, Chaitanya means this consciousness. Don't think it is something which can be objectified. That which cannot be objectified, that is not available for your objectification. Why? Because it is you, the consciousness. That is according to Advaita Vedanta. You are not this body, mind, sense complex. This is a property. This is nothing but something which are given to you and you use that. This is nothing but a tool. That's all. But what is your real nature? Your nature is consciousness. I am. That is what you. So that you cannot be destroyed. You not, because you are not the body, mind, senses. Body come and go, but you continue to be there. You are not. You cannot be killed. Like in Gita says, Nainam Chandanti Shastrani. Weapons cannot cut. Water cannot wet. Wind cannot dry. Then what is that? That I am not subject to any change. That is me, and that is Chaitanyam. I am pure consciousness, pure awareness. I witness of everything, but I cannot be. I cannot be witnessed by anything. So what you can witness is only the object. The subject can never be witnessed. The subject can never be known as an object of experience. That is what consciousness. That is your nature. That is what you. But according to Nyaya Darshana, what they say is the consciousness is endowed with the eternal consciousness as though an attribute, as though something which he possesses. This consciousness he has. That's what their Nyaya Darshana is. He also possesses. You see, consciousness is one possession, one property, one attribute. He also possesses other 6 perfections known as Shad Aishwaryas, like Jnana, Aishwarya, Yasha, Shri, and so on.
I tell you something. Bhagavan, the word Bhagavan we use. You know how the word Bhagavan comes?
No, Ji.
Okay. Dhanam asya asti. What is his name?
Dhanikaha.
Dhanavan. Okay.
Dhanavan.
Dhanam asya asti dhanavan. Balam asya asti iti.
Balavan.
Gunam asya asti iti. Gunaha.
Gunavan.
Bhagaha asya asti iti.
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan. Right?
तर्हि भगः इत्युक्ते कः अर्थः?
Don't worry, I'm going to tell that. Okay, that's what I'm coming. Okay. Bhagaha asya asti iti Bhagavan. What is Bhaga? The sixfold virtues in total measure. Okay, the sixfold virtues is called Bhaga. What are those sixfold virtues? Listen. Aishwaryasya samagrasya Viryasya Yashashashriyah Jnana Vairagyoschaiva Shanna Bhagagitirana. This is a shloka from Vishnu Purana. So, Bhaga means sixfold virtues. What are they? Aishwaryam, that is overlordship. Overlordship means he is a ruler who doesn't have a ruler above him. That is called ultimate ruler. That is Aishwar. That is Aishwarya. Okay. So, Aishwarya. Virya means the strength. Then Aishwaryasya samagrasya. Virya is strength. Is all powerful. Sabashaktiman. Nothing is impossible for him. Everything he can do. He is not like a muzzled man. He is more than that. He is very powerful. He man. He is highly powerful. That's why we say omnipotent. That is second one. Then he has got all the Shri, all the wealth and beauty, all the vibhutis. Whole Jagat is his vibhuti. Shri, ultimate wealth he has got. And he is all the glory. Yashaha, glory. He has got all the glory. And he has endowed with all knowledge. He doesn't have ajnanam. There is no trace of ajnanam. Who can have ajnanam? Only who has a limited mind. They only can have ajnanam. Human beings. Bhagavan mind is, this Jagat is his mind. His mind is unlimited. In fact, he doesn't have mind. He doesn't know an object like what we know by operating the mind. Everything is available to him without mind. Everything is available because he is a creator. He knows everything. There's nothing which he doesn't know. With mind like us, he doesn't analyze and know a thing. If he wants to know, just open the eyes, he knows. That is what Bhagavan is. So therefore, Sampurna Jnanam, omniscient we say. Then Vairagya has got, at the same time, he doesn't have attachment, that is dispassion. All the sixfold, these virtues are present in whom in total measure. Aishwaryasya samagrasya is called Bhagavan. He is called Bhagavan. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, we say in Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is Bhagavan. So the one who has this Shad Aishwarya in total measure is called Bhagavan. So here he says, Ishvara is possessed with consciousness and also this 6 Aishwarya. It means 6 plus 1, 7. This is according to them. But according to Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta he is Chaitanyam, Shuddha Chaitanyam, pure consciousness. And he has got all the Shad Aishwarya. Not as something like an attribute. It is its Swarupa. Okay. Anyway, that is the difference between Advaita Vedanta and Nyaya Darshana. That according to Nyaya Darshana, this is what their perspective is. That is what they are saying. So don't worry about what Advaita Vedanta says now here. Then Nyaya and Vaisheshika schools gives as many as 10 reasons for proving the existence of God. However, the most of them all is there must be a supremely intelligent being, a agent behind creation, wherein almost all the components are inert, and the Jivas and souls are of very limited knowledge and power. The statement in the Vedas considered as supreme authority in supra-mundane matters also support this view. Okay. Again, the meeting is going to end in 10 minutes. After that, I will send you again. We'll complete this Nyaya Darshana and then we can stop. I think how many pages are there? Okay, another 2 or 3 pages. Okay, we'll complete. Then Jivas are individual souls. For this
Okay, Ji.
term exam, only Nyaya Darshana will be there. So you please read this and whatever we discussed, the philosophy about Pramana, within that only questions will be there. So Nyaya Darshana, at least you go through this based on my explanation. You can have your notes. Whatever your understanding is there, for the questions you can answer. Okay. Go through this.
Okay, Ji.
That is enough. I will not ask anything outside of this. So now Jivas are individual souls. According to Nyaya Darshana, the Jivas are individual souls are infinite in number. So Jivas are infinite. They are eternal. See, Jivas are also eternal. And Bhagavan also is eternal. I mean, Ishvara also eternal. And Jivas also indestructible. Bhagavan also indestructible. That's why it's called Dvaita Darshanam. So when if you ask Dvaitam or Advaitam, you have to tell it is Dvaitam. Okay. Consciousness is not intrinsic to them, but an attribute to them due to the association of the mind, which is considered atomic in size. The Jivas are themselves are Vibhu or all pervading. So remember, so here the consciousness is not intrinsic. It means it is not the Swarupam, but it is like an attribute. See, attribute means the rose flower is the roseness, the color is an attribute of the flower, rose. And it has got say suppose 20 petals. It is an attribute. Similarly, consciousness is an attribute to the Jivas because of association with the mind. Similarly, for Ishvara also consciousness is an attribute according to Nyaya Darshana. Consciousness also is an attribute. In addition to that, Ishvara is endowed with Shat Aishwarya Visa. Here, in case of Jiva, the same as Ishvara is not. The consciousness is not intrinsic to them, but an attribute because due to the association with the mind. This attribute is there due to the association with the mind. And mind is atomic in size. Then Jiva gets all its experiences when its mind is related to the outside world through the sense organs. This we can note. This is generally everybody accept. This not accept. This is the truth. Sense organs are inert, jada only. They cannot operate themselves. If they operate themselves, then in sleep also you have to operate. The sense organs must be operative. In sleep also you must be getting all the knowledge. But in sleep, if knowledge happens in the sleep, then sleep is not, that is not a sleep. It becomes a waking state. The waking state only you operate your sense organs and gain knowledge. Why? Because the sense organs are backed up by the mind. Behind the sense organs, the mind is there. Therefore, sense organs operate. Without mind, sense organs cannot operate. In the sleep, sense organs are not operative. Why? Because mind is not there. What happened to the mind? The mind has entered into a sleep state. In fact, what is sleep? Putting the mind to sleep. That is called sleep. Sleep means not consciousness go to sleep. Consciousness cannot go. If consciousness go, then it is not consciousness. Right? Like sun, Surya. Surya never sets. The sun never sets. The setting and rising is only from the standpoint of the world. Similarly, consciousness never rises, never sets. It is there all the time. It is only the mind which goes to sleep. It is only the mind which gets up. So when the mind goes to sleep, sense organs cannot operate. When the mind is awake, in the waking world, sense organs can be operated by the mind. In the presence of the mind, it gets function. It gets life, and therefore it can function. Okay. The primary aim of life, according to the Nyaya school, as in the other philosophical schools, is the attainment of apavarga or moksha. Yes, liberation from transmigration. Transmigration means the cycle of Janma, Marana, that cycle. However, unlike the other systems, the Nyayika is this Nyaya. Those who follow Nyaya Darshana, they are called Nyayikas. Do not accept that it is a state of positive, unbroken, continuous bliss. It is not a permanent state of happiness. It is more a state of negation. They don't consider it as a state of ananda, happiness. What they say? It is a state of negation of the total and permanent absence of all sorrow and suffering. Sorrow, suffering is a problem. Therefore, negating that is the state. It's a state of moksha. For them, what is moksha? Moksha is not a state of permanent happiness. For them, it is more of an absence of suffering and sorrow. Since the existence of pain and pleasure are always there in life, and that too due to the association of the mind with the senses and the objects, there can never be a state of pure pleasure, happiness, or bliss without pain also. This seems to be the logic behind this negative doctrine. Why do they say that moksha is not a state of permanent happiness? Is because mind also permanently there. Like Ishvara is there, then the four things, Prithvi and Apaha, Tejas, and other elements are permanently there. Mind also it is there. Therefore, when mind is there, you cannot avoid Sukham and you cannot avoid Dukkham. Therefore, you cannot say it is a state of permanent happiness. You cannot say. But what can be done is you can absence of all sorrow and suffering. That is possible. That is what they say. The state of negation. Moksha is a state of negation of the state of negation. They are present in a negative way, not in a positive way. It's more a state of negation. Negation of the total and permanent absence of all sorrow and suffering. Therefore, this seems to be the logic behind the negative doctrine. You can get this liberation only by acquiring Tattva Jnanam. Tattva Jnanam is knowledge, true knowledge, knowledge of the thing, the truth. That he is the spirit. He is a spirit distinct from the body and the mind, as also the senses. So he is a spirit. He is not the body and mind or and senses are all that property, and he is a jiva. His consciousness, spirit. For this, he should undergo threefold sadhana: spiritual discipline, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. So, what is Shravanam? Listening to the spiritual instruction from the Guru. Mananam is reflecting on that. And Nididhyasana is meditation on that. Meditation of Atma in conformity with the final conclusion. That's okay. We know what Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. This will, in course of time, destroy all mithya jnana or false knowledge. Then the person ceases to be bandied about by passions and impulses, which would have led to sorrow, pain, and suffering, both physical and mental. So, by destroying the mithya jnana, false jnana, he gained tattva jnana, and therefore he becomes free from sorrow, pain, suffering. So, more of a negative side, they will say, not that he will experience continuous pleasure, continuous ananda, because mind is there, mind is also existing permanently. Therefore, so then conclusion. One of the charges leveled against this Indian philosophy's, especially sixth orthodox system, is that they are based more on the scriptural authority than on sound reasoning and convincing logic. The Nyaya Darshana has more than compensated for this lacuna by its thorough and uncompromising logical methodology. It has provided a firm basis for the development of vast polemic literature by the later writers of many schools, especially of Vedanta. So, this is a darshana where they apply more logic and logical deductions compared to other schools. Even though it is based on the Shruti Pramana, many things they try to prove or they try to establish by logic. With this, we will end this Nyaya Darshana. So we stop here. Om Purnamadas Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Please, the last part, because this meeting is going to end, therefore rushed up. If you want to ask any doubts, I can send the meeting link again. You have any doubts?
Ji, like yesterday, we'll read
So far,
once.
no.
Please do
Yeah.
it. From the examination
Sure.
point, whatever it said, you read.